My name is Michael Scoggins. I live in McConnell, South Carolina. I'm a historian with Culture and Heritage Museums in York. Before that, I was an electronics engineer for 18 years, and I worked with computer manufacturing and testing. I was in the test department. But I've been a historian now for 13 years, working primarily with local history, colonial, Revolutionary War, Civil War, early 20th century history for this region of South Carolina. I've always loved Jeeps. My dad was a sergeant in the Marine Corps. He was in the Korean War at the invasion of Incheon with MacArthur and the Battle of Chosin Reservoir, the liberation of Seoul. And after he came back home, he was a motor supply sergeant. I was born on the Camp Lejeune Marine Corps base in 1953, and me and my mom and my brothers moved back home when I was 4 years old. My first memory of a Jeep, I guess, was when I was about 3 or 4 years old, and my folks bought me a toy Jeep for Christmas. And of course, I grew up in the late 50s, early 60s, watching war movies and the combat television show, and just fell in love with Jeeps. There was just something about Jeeps. I don't know, it's almost metaphysical, I guess, the way a vehicle like that can hold your interest and your attraction. When I was in high school, I had a couple of opportunities not to actually own one, but at least to drive Jeeps. When I was in high school, my dad came home one day with a 1945 Ford GPW, which he was going to buy from a friend of his. He ended up not buying it because it needed a lot of work and the guy would come down on the price, so he ended up giving it back to him. I also had an uncle who had I think it was a 64 CJ5 with the V6 engine. And one summer, me and my brother spent a couple of weeks at his place on the Catawba River and got to spend some time driving that Jeep. He had us cutting down some wood on his property and dragging the logs off. So I had a lot of fun driving that CJ5. And in 1974, my stepdad bought a brand new Jeep 3/4 ton pickup truck, and we drove the heck out of that for many years. He ended up selling it to a friend of his who still drives it, and it's still running today. I got my first four-wheel drive vehicle in '89. It was a '84 Chevy S10, and I've still got two four-wheel drive vehicles, an '85 Chevy S10 and a '99 Olds Jeep Bravada. They're both four-wheel drive, but I always wanted a Jeep of my own, preferably a military Jeep that I could work on. I had the opportunity to get this M38-A1. This is a 1964, one of the last ones that was made, and it's one of the Marine Corps procurement contract Jeeps, which were specially ordered by the U.S. Marine Corps after the Army contract ran out for the M38-A1, and the Marines liked it so well that they gave the Kaiser Willys their own spec with positive traction axles and additional undercoating, and it's probably the best built and most rugged of the M38-A1 series, and a lot of veterans have said this was the best military Jeep that they ever drove. A friend of mine had it sitting at his house where it had been deteriorating for several years. It was surplus by the Marine Corps, I believe, in the early 70s. There's a date on here that says processed 174, which I believe is when it was surplused. It's only got 20,000 miles on it, so I don't expect it was driven a lot. There's a couple of rebuild tags on the carburetor and the fuel pump that say it was reconditioned at Barstow, California in 1968, where some repairs were done to it. It's basically intact. It's missing a few pieces here and there. The headlights were busted when I got it, so I took them out. It's missing the cover on the battery tray, but for the most part, it's intact, and it's still in the original military condition. Still has the 24-volt electrical system, waterproof ignition and fuel system. I've got new batteries in it. The engine will turn over. The starter and everything works, but I don't have good compression on a couple of the cylinders. One of the exhaust valves is stuck, and so I haven't been able to get it to crank yet. The old military tires still hold air, which is amazing considering how old they are. Can't beat those old 6-ply non-directional tires. And the floorboards are rusted, which is to be expected considering the fact that it sat outside in the South Carolina weather for about 30 years. It's amazing to me that somebody would have one of these and not do anything with it. But it's my goal to get it running, and I want to keep it as much original as I can. For one thing, it is a Marine Corps Jeep. You can still see the serial number on the side, USMC 316522, and the York County Civil Defense emblem. It was, when it was surplus, it was sold to the Civil Defense back in the Cold War days. Of course, we don't have Civil Defense anymore, but I don't expect it was ever driven a whole lot during that time. And the Civil Defense let somebody have it, and that guy never did anything with it. And then he sold it to a friend of mine, and he didn't do anything with it. So I've had it for 2 years and been working on it as I can afford it. Last year I got my second Jeep, which is a 1954 CJ3B, and it's next door. But this one is in the best shape. The 3B has a lot of parts missing off of it. It was used as parts for another project. This one I think will be easier to get running if I can get the valves straightened out on it. I think I can get it to crank. I've got to do some work on the brakes and the fuel system, mostly because everything rotted away sitting outside for 30+ years. But other than that, I think it's just a matter of time and money.